All right. Fantasy football is back for 2026, 2027. And D Nasty, partner in crime, is back. Dave, how the heck you doing? Got the Brewers stuff behind you. They just can't lose, man. The Cubs. I'm a huge Cubs guy, but these are like two of the top freaking records in the league.
I know, I love it. I love that the Dodgers have been losing lately too, on a nice little losing streak. So it's always nice to see the Dodgers lose as well. But yeah, I'm pumped up for some fantasy football, man. I'm glad football's back. The first Hall of Fame game was last week. I watched that. Carson Beck looked pretty well. So yeah, I'm pretty excited, man.
Carson Beck probably brought himself up to still undraftable, unless you're, of course, a dynasty league. But he was picked fourth in our dynasty league. That was actually my pick. I traded because I needed another tight end, so I grabbed one. But we'll see. I think the jury's still on. Everyone keeps saying like next year's quarterback crop, and the Cardinals are going to tank for that. Dave, this is probably good just to talk about intro thoughts. I don't think anybody's tanking. I think this is all bullshit because why would you tank when there's 5 quarterbacks coming out? At 5 plus, it's like, who cares if you're like 5th to last? You can still draft Julian Sand or Carr or even Arch Manning, if not Dante Moore.
Exactly.
I don't believe tanking is going to factor in for fantasy.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think a lot of teams are going to tank this year. Plus, the draft is so deep next year too. Like you were saying, there's a lot of good quarterbacks coming up, but the draft itself is really deep next year. So if you're drafting later in the first round or even middle of first round, and those top 12 picks, even you're still going to get a good player. You're going to get a starter in the top 12 picks next year for sure. Very deep draft, even for fantasy leagues. I'm trying to hang on to all my picks because there's a lot of good players coming out next year in 2027. It's going to be a deep draft.
Yeah, it sure is. It's going to be one of the funnest drafts that we've had, and I'm very excited for it. So that's a good thought. I just don't think that you have to worry about like maybe like a Devon Achane, being benched just because of tanking. I think if anything, it's just he might have a rougher season, but it's not like you have to worry too much about that when it comes to playoff time. So I agree with that. Well, hey, man, it's great to talk about fantasy again with you. And it's great to talk about running back share because, that is something that is huge, and well, I spent the last couple of days just looking at some of the percentages of touches, snaps, things like that. And it's probably great to even bring up if this is going to be a good PPR guy when we're going over this. So let's always start where we do. We love to start with the NFC North, Dave. It's our division. You're a Packer fan. I'm a Bear fan. That worked out well for the Bears last year. And I should be wearing my Bears hat. But here we are. The DeAndre Swift. I mean, I have him at least 55%. But I will say that, man, did Kyle Monagai last year, Dave, really made a name for himself. And Swift is getting older. I think that Kyle Monagai is going to creep up there. It's a situation that I don't love. As a fantasy drafter, you're looking in the second round and you're at the end of the second round because you pick let's just say you pick 3rd in the draft. You got Jamar Chase and you got DeAndre Swift just coming to you. I think you hesitate a little bit, And so, and then I just have Roshan Johnson and Britton Brown just sharing like the scraps of 5%. What do you think about the Bears?
Yeah, I was pretty similar to you as well. I said 55% for Swift and 40% for Monagai, and then the other 5% for Rashawn Johnson and Britton Brown as well. I saw that Ahmad too. He's been in the league for a while, so he might get some carries too, depending on how that running back field shakes out after training camp. But yeah, DeAndre Swift, though, he's been injured in the past, though, too, and he is prone to get injured. So that's one thing you got to look at, too, because even Monagai was playing for him quite a couple times last year when he was injured. So if he gets injured again, he could lose his job this year. So we'll just see because Monagai could take over then. So, yeah, I do like Monagai a lot, too, as well.
100%. Let's move on to a team you know better, the Packers. Dave, what do you think the share is going to look like this year?
Josh Jacobs, I'd say probably 65% there. They don't really have a good backup for him right now. Marshawn Lloyd is the backup right now, and Christopher Brooks is like the receiving back. He'll get some of the PPR points. Jacobs, he's a good receiver, but they like Chris Brooks on the 3rd downs, actually. So I'd say 65% for him, 30% for Lloyd, probably not even that much. And then probably Chris Brooks and Marshawn Lloyd are probably going to be more like 15-15. They'll probably share that second back role because Marshawn Lloyd is just coming off 2 years where he was injured. So he's really an unknown. So we don't really know much about Marshawn Lloyd. And Josh Jacobs is banged up a little bit in training camp, just a sprained ankle the other day, but he should be good to go by week 1.
Yeah, Jacobs got a little trouble in the offseason too.
Too.
It's care to share anything about that, Dave?
Well, they said that. Well, I was hearing there all the reports were coming out actually about the domestic abuse stuff and all that stuff, but then they never charged him. So, and they kind of swept everything under the rug now. So, I think it was just one of those cases where the lady cried wolf and kind of just wanted some attention and money. So, I don't think it was actually true.
It's so hard to describe that. I hate when people get suspended and stuff from their jobs for being charged, because it's really supposed to be a court of law thing. It's like, until he is guilty, he is allowed to play and have his job. I think that it sometimes takes out the good years. Running backs are shelf life is pretty quick on that. It's like leaving milk outside. You better get on that or it's over. No, I have 60% for Jacobs, 25% for Lloyd, Chris Brooks, and Pierre Strong if he makes the team. Split the rest at 15%. So I'm with you on that as well. I will say that, the Packers could make another move, if somebody gets cut from another team. So I'm not loving the backups either. There's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, James Conner is the rumored person that they're supposed to be looking at. And just plus because that's LaFleur's brother as well. So I could see something happen later in training camp with that, where we just do get James Conner possibly, which I would love. But we'll see. That's the rumor right now as well.
The rumor makes too much sense to be true. I think that James Conner has to take off the load off the new Jeremiah Love. Yeah, it's like later in the season when the Cardinals are out of the playoffs and the Packers are going for the playoffs is when that trade happens, right? I don't think it makes sense.
4 good running backs. They have Tyler Algier. We'll get into it in a minute, but they have 4 good running backs. So I could see him having to train James Conner because they don't have room for everybody. But we'll get into that in a minute when we talk about that running back share.
Yeah, they're terrible. We'll get into how bad they draft too. Minnesota Vikings, Aaron Jones kind of banged up last year. I feel like Jordan Mason really took a chunk out of that, Dave. I personally think it's still Aaron Jones's to lose at 55%, but I got Jordan Mason at 40% and the rest, Claiborne and Scott, Xavier Scott, Damon Claiborne, 5%.
Yeah, I'm the same way, actually. Jones, I got them pretty close, though. I'd say Jones is 50%, 40% for Mason. And I like Desmond Claiborne and Xavier Scott. Xavier Scott was a nice receiving back last year, so I'd say those two will have about 10% share between Claiborne and Scott. Claiborne, they really like him as a rookie, so 10% between those two. But yeah, Mason's definitely closing the gap on Jones for sure. And Jones is getting a little older and a little more injury prone as well.
It's funny that we just went through 3 of the teams and we're just not so sure about the top guys. It means that receivers are going to come off the board early, and then people are going to take their shots with those Jordan Masons, and then whoever hits gold is going to be golden for the
exactly.
Year. Yeah,
those will give me some those will give me some league winners right there. Actually, if you hit on a couple of those guys,
yeah, and that's something I think is a interesting thought to this next season. Obviously, Jahmyr Gibbs from the Lions, right? I mean, what do you think about him?
I'm saying 70% for Jahmyr Gibbs. And then Isaiah Pacheco is actually banged up right now. He had an MCL injury. And actually, Jahmyr Gibbs, he's actually nursing a back injury right now. Both those guys should be ready by week 1, they're saying. But definitely, I have Jahmyr Gibbs at 70%, and then Isaiah Pacheco like about 25%. And then the backups like between it's like Sion Vaki and Raheem Blackshear, they'll get the remaining like 5%. So, but Gibbs is definitely going to dominate that backfield now.
Maybe Jacob Saylor's there too. Yeah, I got 75% for Gibbs and Pacheco 20. I think Pacheco comes in a bit, but man, they paid Gibbs to run, so we'll see how that goes.
Exactly.
I do like Pacheco too. I don't have any busts or sleepers really in the NFC North. Let's move on.
Not really. I would agree.
Let's move on to Carolina Panthers, NFC South here. I got Chuba Hubbard at number 1 at 50%, but I don't love it. I feel like I didn't put him as a complete bust, but a semi-bust. He's been good and bad, hurt before. Jonathan Brooks was a very high running back draft pick. And, I put him at I put him at 35%. and I put Trevor Etienne at 50%, 15%. So this is another one of those situations where I'm not in love with drafting Chuba high, and I'd rather take a shot at Brooks later.
All right. Chuba, I like him actually. I'm gonna be a little bit different than you on this one actually. I know last year he struggled a little bit, but he was injured when he struggled though too as well. They had Rico there, and Rico's a solid back as well. But if you guys remember 2 years ago, he was pretty much like almost an all pro 2 years ago. So he was a very good back 2 years ago. And I think he could regain that form. It's just a matter of the offense, and they got more receivers now. It's going to take the load off, and Bryce Young's playing better. I think he could be a better running back this year. Jonathan Brooks, I'm still not sold on him. I drafted him several years ago when he was a rookie, tore out his ACL twice. He came back from the first ACL and then tore it out again. So I'm kind of a little skeptical on him with 2 torn ACLs already, and how well those are going to hold up and how well his legs are going to hold up after 2 ACL injuries. So I do know that he's a sleeper. He's one of the top sleepers out there right now for fantasy football. So if there is a sleeper in this division, that's him. I'll just call it right now and say that that's the sleeper right now in this division. But I'm not totally sold on it with his injury history. He's only played, I think, 1 or 2 games in his whole NFL career in 2 years. So
yeah,
tough. But my share on this one's going to be, I say 60% for Chuba, 30% for Jonathan Brooks, and then I'm going the last 10 between Etienne and AJ Dillon.
Yeah, I think AJ Dillon's another one that could come back to the Packers.
Yeah, I like AJ Dillon a little bit too. Yeah.
Yeah, he could come to the Packers in case. Trevor, I don't like that. And they changed his name to his brother is now Etienne instead of Etienne. So is Trevor doing that too? I don't know. And when you have Devon Etienne, it really throws you off too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What you got for teach me how to Bucky with the Tampa Bay Bucks?
Oh, I definitely like Bucky Irving. So he's like one I like really a lot there. So and then.
Well, Gainwell's the second guy there.
Yeah, so Gainwell I like too, but they're saying that Bucky Irving's healthy now in camp now, and they're saying Kenneth Gainwell, well, they like him as well. And don't forget about Sean Tucker too. So this is a tough backfield because Bucky Irving's definitely should be the number one. But with Gainwell and Tucker had a good year too, so they like both of those backs actually there. So I'm only going 50 on Bucky Irving, but that could be a lot more actually there, depending on how healthy he comes out and how well he comes up. But they're saying he looking good in training camp right now. Kenneth Gainwell, I'd say 30%. And the remaining 20% is going to go to Sean Tucker. I don't see the other 2 running backs there getting much, but yeah, Kenneth Gainwell is definitely someone to look out for. He's one of those sneaky guys that could be a game winner if Irving gets hurt.
100%. I got 55% for Bucky only because Gainwell's so good. I think Gainwell's great running back. I think that the Steelers got rid of the wrong guy personally, and it should have been Warren to go and Gainwell to stay. I have 35% for Gainwell, and I put Gainwell a sleeper. Now he's not going to be a sleeper as an RB1, but he could be a good 3 or a slot guy. It could be RB2 is what I'm trying to say. Flex guy, I meant to say. And then Tucker and Josh Williams will have the rest. Atlanta Falcons. I mean, this is easy. Bijan 75%. Brian Robinson, I will say, is a hell of a backup. So you get a Bijan Robinson and a Brian Robinson. So 2 B
Robinson brothers.
Yeah, right. They're not even brothers, but. I will say Brian Robinson will have a chip on his shoulder. He did play for Alabama, and he wants to put on a show when he gets the ball. And I remember when the Steelers bench CMC because of injuries and stuff. Robinson looked good, and he didn't look as good as rookie year, but he looked good now. Tyler Goodson and Nate Carter 5%. Are we accurate there?
Yeah, I might even go a little bit higher, even go 80% for Bijan. He's definitely the one that he's the offense there, and they gave him a huge contract too. They're gonna definitely give him carries. I'd say 15 for Brian Robinson Jr. and then the remaining 5% with the backups with Goodson and Carter too. So yeah, I do like Brian Robinson Jr. like you said as well, but Bijan's definitely the man there.
What do you have for the Saints?
Saints, I like. Well, we just talked about it. Travis Etienne. If I said it wrong, but I know they just changed his name. But I like him. And then you got Alvin Kamara then as well. He's getting a little bit older, but he came back. He took the pay cut to come back. They said he's going to be the receiving back now. So PPR leagues, watch out for Alvin Kamara because he's definitely still going to have a nice share there. I think 50% Travis Etienne, and then I would say probably 35% for Kamara there. then the backups there, probably Devin Neal and Kendre Miller, but those guys are both banged up right now, so we'll see about the backups. But definitely ETN with that big contract he just signed and the Kamara coming back, he's gonna have something to prove as well. So I think he's definitely for PPR leagues, he's gonna have a lot of receptions, I think, this year.
Devin Neal let me down last year. I thought he was going to be better. Travis Etienne is my first bust. I think that Kamara takes the RB1 over again. I think he's just better. Etienne did not impress me at Jacksonville when he played with his buddy, Trevor Lawrence. So he knew everything about the plays. He knew everything about Trevor Lawrence. He just could not perform. He was injured a lot. And Kamara is more of a powerful runner than Etienne. So I even believe that he's going to be a passing back. He's going to fit his way back. And it's so weird that I have a sleeper that's 10 years in the league like Alvin Kamara, right? And my other one was Gainwell. He's got to be like 5 or 6 years by now or something like that. So it is kind of weird that I have my first two kind of sleepers there, but I do have my first bust for sure as Travis Etienne. I will not be drafting him in any of my leagues. I also don't like the Saints. Seahawks. Let's move to the NFC West. Well, they just drafted somebody, didn't they, Dave?
Yep, Jordan Pierce. So I do like Pierce actually.
Jadarian Price.
I'm sorry, Jadarian Price. I'm sorry. But yeah, Jadarian Price, I do like him. I'd say 50% for him. And then the other 35%, it's going to probably be Eugene Wilson, actually, the old Packer, actually. So I do like him too as well. But then after that, it's really hard because they have George Holani, and then they have Zach Cabernet, who's actually injured, and he's going to be out for quite a bit of the season too. So don't forget about Cabernet, because when he comes back, he's definitely going to be split with Jadarian Price. But Jadarian Price, I think, is definitely the guy, the owner here right now, and they say he's looking good in camp as well.
They love Charbonnet over there, though. He was really good. And you know how they let Walker walk, and I mean Walker wanted more money, but Charbonnet was really just completely ran hard for this team when Walker's been hurt. And I just thought that even though Price is the new shiny, second running back out of the draft from the first round, 45%, just like you, I agree with you there. And then Holani and Manuel Wilson can split 10%. So 100% agreement there. Rams. Kyron Williams used to be the biggest percentage snap guy. He's went down a little bit. He was also injured a little bit. It's like everybody, but 60% I'm giving him still. I put Blake Corum at 30%, and I also put Ronnie Rivers, Jaquez Hunter at 10%. Now, I have heard rumors that they think Blake Corum is going to take over. I don't think so. I think Blake Corum was a great college runner. I don't think he's anything special in the NFL. I think it's still Kyron Williams as the bell cow.
I would just disagree probably a little on this one. Blake Corum, I think, is a sleeper. He's one of my sleepers too, actually, in this division. They do really like him a lot, and when he got in last year, he performed and he ran hard. So Kyron Williams is actually on the decline just a little bit, like you said, but maybe over usage over the last couple of years. But he is injury prone now too, a little bit too. But I'm going to go 50-40, Kyron 50. Blake Corum 40, and the last 10% between the backups of Rivers and Hunter. But I definitely like Corum as a sleeper this year. So I'm a little disagree with you on that one just a little bit, but I do like Blake Corum.
That's okay. It's great to have a little disagreement here. We'll see how that shapes up. Let's go to this 49ers. So why don't you take the 49ers?
All right. CMC definitely is the guy here. He had a comeback player of the year last year for the 49ers, had a great year last year. And then behind him, there's really not much, actually. So I'm going to say 70% for CMC. But they do have to get him some rest. He doesn't get injured because in the past, he's had some pretty significant injuries. And he's screwed many people a couple years ago when he went out at the beginning of the year. But then his backup is listed as Jordan James, but it's really hard to say because I like Isaac Guerrero from last year. He filled in when he was hurt. And they have the rookie Kalen Black, who's a sleeper in some leagues too. He's a deep sleeper, though. I wouldn't say he's a legit sleeper that have any kind of risk to CMC, but I'm definitely going to go 70 probably for CMC. And then it's going to be 30 between those backups because it's really hard to say who the backup's going to be. So that remaining 30% is going to be Jordan James, Kalen Black, and Isaac Guerrero. If I'm betting on anyone, it's probably Guerrero and Patrick Taylor. Those two were played the most last year when people were injured. So probably those would be my two favorites for the backups.
It's funny. It's like Kalen Black was great on Indiana, winning the championship. And, he's just such he hits the hole hard. But man, I think that it's still Garendo's at 15%. I agree with 70% for CMC. I think he takes a step down a little bit. But I also think that Jordan James and Kalen Black will get 15%, and then maybe Garendo gets the other 15%. But Kalen Black, this backfield is up in the air. I'm not sure about this at all. So that's that's just straight up guess. But I do like the way Garendo ran last year as well. Arizona Cardinals, you were mentioning it, James Conner. I got Conner at 55%. I got Love at 35%. I think that evens out later. This is to start out. Now, it's not like Love's going to be anybody's sleeper, right? So I can't put him down as a sleeper. I almost kind of would suspect him as a potential bust because I think that the Cardinals are going to suck. And I think that, he's going to get beat up. And, that's kind of why you keep James Conner. But at the same time, if James Conner just can't play nicely with new draft picks, then they will have to ship him away. But here's another stupid thing. Why'd you draft Trey Benson so damn high a year or two ago, whatever it was, 2 years ago? Because you remember he was drafted with the Jordan Brooks class. And then now you're drafted another running back high. It's just like this front office of the Cardinals, just they're frustrating for Cardinals fans down here in Arizona. I hear about it a lot. And I emphasize with this. I do love Jeremiah Love. He's great, but he's a running back. He doesn't move the needle for me like an offensive tackle, like a great wide receiver, like a edge rusher. It's like, okay, well, he has to be super special. Well, they think he's special. I know a lot of people that work for the Cardinals that told me they're making that pick, and he's a great running back, but third pick of the draft seems a little much for me. Do you agree?
So one guy you didn't mention actually is Tyler Algier. I got him.
I wrote him down. I must not have said anything. I said Benson.
Yeah, Tyler Algier, actually, they signed him in the offseason. So another weird move as well. So not only did they draft Trey Benson, Jemiah Love, and then they have James Conner already, but they also signed Tyler Algier to a decent-sized contract in the offseason. So the number
special
one
teams. Special teams, what's he doing?
He's going to be running, man. They said he's been working with the ones. So in training camp right now, it's actually been Jemiah Love and Tyler Algier. James Conner is still hurt. He hasn't practiced yet for training camp. So my share here is going to be 50% for Jemiah Love, 40% for Tyler Algier, and then 10% for Trey Benson. I don't think James Conner is involved in this backfield going forward. He's injured and still hasn't practiced yet in training camp. So
he's going to come back.
I think he's going to come back, but I don't know how much he's going to play because they want Algier to play. They've been running him with the ones and with Love. So I definitely disagree completely on this backfield because I've been seeing notes from training camp. You should know this. You're the Arizona guy, man. Algier's been running with the ones. So, and they signed him for a reason. They want him to run the ball. So him and Love, I think, are going to be the 1-2 punch there. And I think
Dave, I know they have Algier. This is like something that I'm forecasting because he's running with the ones because he's the veteran and Conner is on the shelf for now. But Conner is just doing one of those veteran fucking moves where he is going to come right in when it's time and he's just taking it easy during training camp. I mean, look, man, I mean, it's true that he was injured, but he's not on the PUP list. I mean,
true.
If that was the case, I think he would be on the PUP list, and he's not. So
I agree. Agreed. I agree with that. Yeah, I hope Conner comes back because I have him in a bunch of dynasty leagues. So
yeah. All right. Well, yeah. But I mean, it's so fun that we had such disagreement, but at the same time, we do agree that they're going running back nuts, and now they drafted one in the top. So that is definitely interesting here with this team. Well, let's move on to the NFC East, and you got the Eagles there. I mean, this is simple to me. It's Barkley at 80%. I got Bigsby at 15%, and Shipley and Damian Pierce can split 5%. It's not going to be much for them at all.
Agreed. I got 75% for Barkley. It's not much different. And then 20% for Bigsby, and then Shipley and Pierce, the remaining 5% too. So not much different on that one for me.
Don't even need to stay on that one. Let's go to the Dallas Cowboys. My boy, Javonte, he carried one of my teams last year. What do you think about the Cowboys?
I like Javonte Williams a lot. I traded for him last year. I work with a Cowboy fan at work, and he's been raving about him, and he loved him last year too because he had all his Cowboys on his teams. But the guy that really liked in camp right now and that's been getting some rave reviews is actually Jaden Blue. They were down on him last year. He didn't really come in prepared. He wasn't really putting forth the effort, but they said he's coming a different running back this year. They said he knows the playbook now. He's running hard. He knows his plays, so they really like him. So Javonte Williams, I'm going 65% on him, 30% on Jaden Blue. I know that's pretty high. And then between Malik Davis and Phil Maffa, they like Maffa too as well. They drafted him late last year. So between those guys, there'll be the remaining percentage there as well, the remaining 5%.
Jaden Blue was drafted by me last year, and he was not my boy Blue because he never played. But I will say that
he was in the doghouse.
I at least drafted him to handcuff in our dynasty league, Javonte Williams, because Javonte put me in that championship game in our dynasty league. I lost that one, but man, that was a great year for me last year. All right, here's a messy situation. The Washington Commanders. This is worse than the Cardinals to me. Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, 35%. Rashad White, who comes from Tampa Bay, 30%. And I have like Katron Allen, who is a very good draft pick from Penn State, and Jeremy McNichols, who's pretty good too. I have them at 35%. I think this is a nasty 3 to 4 way get the hell out of Dodge, don't know what to do with it situation.
I agree. I don't have, mine isn't much different actually either. I got Krosky Merritt at 40, Rashad White at 30, and then the remaining 30 I have Katron Allen and Jeremy McNichols. McNichols played really well last year when people were banged up there, so don't forget about him actually. And Katron Allen, I do like him as a rookie as well too. He's actually getting a lot in dynasty leagues. He's getting a lot of value in dynasty leagues. He's been moving up boards in my dynasty league. So a lot of people, I think, like him as a deep sleeper actually in quite a few leagues.
Yeah, he's the only one that I would draft late because I don't want any of the other guys. New York Giants. What do you got for the Giants?
I'm going with my boy Cam. I love Cam. He's healthy.
Scatterbo. Gotta love him.
Scatterbo. You got those Scatterbo. I love him, man. I'm going 50% for Scatterbo, 40% for Tracy, and the remaining 10% with Singletary. I don't think Gray or Dante Miller, they're not going to get much run, especially with those 3 backs there. They're all experienced backs. If one of them gets hurt, Tracy could step up. But as we saw last year, Scatterbo is definitely the guy there.
100%. I hope his ankle's still okay. Has he been? I don't know if he's been moving around too much yet. I think he
didn't see him do the backflip a couple weeks ago.
No, but it's funny. It's like I remember what's his name from the Packers just did that, and the coach got mad at him. Marshawn Lloyd did it. It's like, dude, you should not be doing backflips when you're freaking injured. Well, you know what, Scatterbo, stop doing freaking backflips, please. He doesn't.
He did it at WWE. He did that at WWE.
He was doing that at ASU all the time.
He did it.
He was doing it down here at ASU, man. But you know, I have him at 60, but you can't forget about Tyrone Tracy at 35%. Yeah. Devin Singletary is just going to pick up the scraps. But here's the thing. How do you even draft both these guys? It's like if you have Cam, you kind of wish you could handcuff them. You can't handcuff them. You have to probably get Devin Singletary later. But it's like Tyrone Tracy is going to get a lot of running too, I think. He's a really good back, I think.
Yes, he's a solid back.
Let's go to the New England Patriots. Is this the year, Dave, that Travion Henderson moves into number 1 position?
It's a very good question. So it's hard to say with him. Like, I like Travion Henderson a lot, actually, but you got Ramon Stevenson there too, who's still a solid back. So it's like hard to say what's going to happen there. But and then you got Terrell Jennings, who played a little bit last year. So the backups really, it's between those top 2 backs actually. So I'm going to go actually Henderson. I'm going to do 50, 40 for Stevenson, and the remaining 10% for the backups. Like Terrell Jennings might get a little run, but definitely it's going to be those 2 backs are going to have a majority of it. You can't really count out Stevenson, but I do like Henderson. He just got that big playability, which I really like. So that's the thing that separates him from Stevenson.
100%. Stevenson was your boy last year. I do remember that. Yeah, I just think it's time for Travion. I got him at 55%. I have him as a sleeper, not like a deep sleeper, but he's a sleeper. I mean, people are going to draft him, but 6th, 7th round. I think he's going to be maybe going a little higher than that. I don't know. I didn't do a mock draft yet though, so I don't know exactly where he's going. But I would assume that he's going to be a value pick for somebody. Terrell Jennings at 5% is just my other one. I
definitely like Henderson as well.
Buffalo Bills. This is pretty much like last year to me. What do you think?
Yeah. I think it's going to be almost the same as last year for both of us. It's James Cook, definitely like 70 to 75% there. Ray Davis, like 30%. I still like Ray Davis a lot. If Cook gets hurt, he's definitely a league winner if James Cook does get hurt. And then they got Ty Johnson. He's banged up right now, though. And then Frank Gore Jr. Ty Johnson's questionable with a knee injury, but definitely it's going to be the James Cook show there for sure. And Josh Allen, though, still takes, don't forget about Josh Allen, though, too, because he takes away a lot of those touchdowns from James Cook. But James Cook had a monster year last year.
Absolutely, he did. And he's my, was my other back in our dynasty league. And yeah, I have him at 65%, Ty Johnson at 20%, Ray Davis and Frank Gore and Ian Wheeler. I even have splitting 15. One's not going to make it. I think with the new regime right there, with the new coach, Brady there, Joe Brady, I feel like he might even resurrect Frank Gore from there. But I do think Ray Davis is still going to be that third down, fun, like touchdown guy. I feel like he's going to have his, and he's going to have most of that 15%. Ty Johnson, who knows? I almost think that Ray Davis might outscore Ty Johnson too, just because of all that.
Right? I think he will too. Ty Johnson, they like him there for some reason though, because he always gets carries there, and like they put him in like big situations too sometimes. Like I remember last year when they did, and he came in for Cook quite a few times. So I was like, can't count him out, but definitely Ray Davis is definitely the more talented back there.
Let's go to the Dolphins. Devon Achane, I have him at 75%. I got Jalen Wright at 15%. Then I got Ollie Gordon and Jonathan Edwards at the other 10%. So this is just like one of those, rebuilding years for Miami, although they're not treating it like Jeff Hafley comes in from Green Bay. They bring Malik Willis and think that's a good idea. I think it's a fucking awful idea. I think Malik Willis was only good because he was in a good play caller like LaFleur.
And a good offense.
You can criticize LaFleur for a lot of things, but not as a play caller, because that man knows how to call plays and knows how to scheme up plays too. But, the rest of the problems, that's up to you guys. But I will say that, I don't want to own Achane. I will if I have to. I think everyone's going to feel the same thing. It's not like we're alone by thinking, oh man, you're on a shitty team, and so it just could be this one of those wait it out and see what happens. But he did get paid too, like a year ago. So
yeah, Achane definitely 70% there, but like I think they're going to miss Mike McDaniel. He was actually pretty brilliant. He was weird and wasn't that great of a head coach, but I think he's a great offensive coordinator. Things have definitely helped the Chargers. I like Jalen Wright at the 30% then too. Ollie Gordon and Devon Edwards get a little bit of run there too as well. Ollie Gordon got some run when there was injuries last year, but Jalen Wright is the guy they really like there too behind Achane. And then yeah, I definitely agree that team's not going to be that good. Malik Willis is definitely not the answer there either. I definitely agree with you on that.
Let's go to the next one in the Dolphins. The Jets. What do you think about the Jets?
Oh, I like Breece Hall. Everyone's raving about him right now. They're all saying that he's going to be a sleeper pick too. That this year that he's going to have a great year. They're saying now because Geno Smith's there. Not still sold on Geno Smith though, but I definitely like Breece Hall. He had a great year last year. He's definitely a great running back. I'm going 70% there, and then we got our boy Braylon Allen from UW. He's going to be 25%, and then the remaining percentage is going to be between Isaiah Davis and Kenny Njoku. So. But yeah, Breece Hall, I definitely think is going to be the man there.
Yeah, I say the Wangwo. Kenny Wangwo. Can Braylon Allen stay healthy to be a real backup? He was not healthy at all again. Breece is the bell cow, but Braylon was our sleeper last year, and he slept on his couch. That's what pretty much happened.
First couple of weeks, though, the first 3 weeks, he looked awesome. He was actually splitting carries with Breece Hall almost.
Yeah, I know.
And then he got hurt.
So, I might readjust this. I might readjust Breece down from 70 to 55 or 60. I think that you're right. I think they do want Braylon Allen to be better. We'll put Braylon at 30%. I think that makes a little bit, rethinking this a little bit, that makes a little sense to me. Denver Broncos. This is another weird one. J.K. Dobbins, another guy that's hurt all the time. I got him at 45%. I got R.J. Harvey as a sleeper there at 45%. And the rest, Jonah Coleman and Julio McLaughlin at 10%. I think Harvey is a legitimate guy that could take over for J.K. Dobbins.
I agree. I got him actually a little higher. I got Harvey at 55. And then I got 40 for Dobbins.
Nice. So you even over adjusted him more than I did.
I did, yeah. Dobbins is banged up again. His injury history just scares me a little bit. RJ Harvey is definitely the more explosive back. I think Dobbins is the better bell cow there. Harvey's more explosive, but and then Jonah Coleman, actually, they really like there too. He's actually been a deep sleeper in a lot of my dynasty leagues right now too. And then actually the Denver Broncos have been talking him up in training camp too. They said they really like him. he's not playing like a rookie, they said, and they said they really like him. So definitely a guy I really like there too. And Dobbins right now, his undisclosed injuries, so lower body injuries, what they're saying right now. So that scares me right there with him already being injured in training camp.
It's very true. What a weird situation. How about the Chargers, since you're bringing up McDaniel coming into OC?
I definitely like that situation there. Today, I was reading on one of my fantasy football websites that McDaniel was saying he's going to try and play all three backs. So that's very interesting to hear with McDaniel saying that. This offense is going to be hard to read with him being the offensive coordinator there, though. But I do like this offense with him there. I think he has a good offensive mind. He does like to run the ball a lot too, actually. So he does like running the ball. So I like Omari and Hampton there. Definitely 50% for him. I'm doing 30% for Vidal and then 20% for Keenan Mitchell. He's kind of the deep sleeper in this backfield here. So that's why I gave him a little bit more higher percentage than most times I give the third running back. But plus with McDaniel saying he wants to play all three and he likes get all three involved. So I split up the percentages a little bit more there. I definitely think Hampton's the lead back there for sure, though.
Yeah, agreed. Let's move. I got Omari in at 65%. Yeah, I think Mitchell does take second for sure, though, at 15% for now. I think I have him at 25%. Sorry, not 15. Chiefs. Well, here's the thing: the Chiefs got that big trade, right, Dave? And obviously Kenneth Walker is now in the Chiefs. This is starting to feel like super team. It's like let's bring a bunch of older dudes that won. Not that he's that old. He's 4 or 5 years in. He's not, but he's probably in his prime even. But still, Kenneth Walker 60%. I got Emari Demercado 25% as a sleeper too. I think he passes everybody else. He came from the Arizona Cardinals, and that was another back that they had. But guess what he did last year, Dave? He blew everyone's survivor, dropped the ball against the Titans, and then it spun out of control there, and it burned about 60 to 80% of survivors that week. Thank God I wasn't on them that week, but I was just watching in awe how that could just.
I remember that game, and he lost his job after that too. He didn't play for quite a few weeks after that.
Dude, he's a doghouse, man.
He wasn't in the doghouse big time, but no, I definitely agree with you on this one. I'd say it's 60% for Kemba, and then the remaining 40% is definitely between Emari Demercado and Emmett Johnson. They have listed as the second back there, and then Brashard Smith actually too. They liked him a lot last year actually when they drafted him. So definitely it's going to be between those three for the remaining 40% there.
Yep. Raiders. Go for it.
Well, already know for the Raiders, Ashawn Genty, he's going to be at least 60 to 65% there. Mike Washington Jr., they really like this rookie they drafted this year. I'd say 20% for him. And then the remaining 10% there, I'd say probably Dylan Loeb there. And then Dario, I messed up his name.
Our Badger guy, Dare. Ogun. It's really. I think they call him Dare for real. That's what we call them. Ogunbowale.
Dare then.
Ogunbowale is how to say it.
Ogunbowale. There you go.
It's a tough one, but I remember when he played for us. So here's what I wrote: Dare or Dare, whatever you want to say, has been in the league longer than most running backs right now. So you got to really appreciate it. When you got a dude that just accepts like minimum and or maybe a little bit more, but it just doesn't complain. Okay with playing special teams. Guess what? You have a pretty good tenure in the NFL, and I think you might have a little bit better of a medical package too after you retire.
Yeah,
so good for that man. But I do think that Ashton Genty is at 80%, Dave, because he was almost that high last year. And they do like Mike Washington. I got Mike Washington second, but I will say that Dylan Loeb and Ogunbowale will split the other 10%. I can see Ogunbowale in special teams again. Pittsburgh Steelers. So this is another weird one. Rico Dowdle, I am at 50%. I got Jalen Warren at 35%. I think that
Dowdle, interesting.
I do. I think that they made a mistake, and I think early in the year, Dowdle will get the number one position. I like Dowdle. I think he's the truth. He's the over 1,000 yards last year. I don't know how great he blocks in the backfield, but Warren wasn't that good. Caleb Johnson Dude, I drafted him in a high about 2 years ago, and he was my
He's
bust.
the bust. He's definitely in the bust league.
I think he might not make the team, but he's 15% for me.
All right, I got a little different actually here. I do like Dwaddle. He did have a good couple 2 years ago with the Cowboys. He had 1,000 yards. Carolina Panthers. He looked good. Definitely a solid back. Jalen Warren is the guy they like there, though. I think still though. I'm going 50% for him, 40% for Dwaddle though. So not much different there. They're definitely. I think it's definitely going to be split. And then the remaining 10% between Caleb Johnson and Travis Homer. But yeah, Caleb Johnson definitely a bust there. They thought he was going to be so great last year when they drafted him, but yeah, definitely was a bust. And Dwell, yeah, that backfield is definitely pretty much a 50-50 split there. I think
when Caleb Johnson played for Iowa, he busted up our Badgers. What the hell happened to this guy? It's funny. It's like when the giant egos of Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy come together and have to find blame in somebody, it just might be Jalen Warren. So just gotta keep that in mind with those egos in front of you. Oh my God, that's just a situation that they should have a reality show following the freaking Pittsburgh Steelers. I never watch reality shows, but I might just have to watch it just for laughs.
Who's Hard Knocks this year? Who do they have for Hard Knocks this year?
Seattle.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
They might have two of them too. I don't really watch too much Hard Knocks, but
I don't watch it that much either.
Like I said, I don't watch much reality shows, but for Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy, how pathetic.
I'd watch that. Yeah.
How pathetic comparing this was. I might have to. Move on to the Baltimore Ravens. So Derrick Henry, man, I don't know, man. The guy just never seems to die. What do you think?
Just wonder.
He is. What do you got for the Ravens running back?
Definitely 70% for Henry. That's probably maybe even 75%. It's in that range. I'm gonna go 70 though. 25% for Justice Hill, and then Rasheem Ali. Probably the remaining 5% there.
Yeah. Yep. I think that Derrick Henry's getting a little old. I put him to 60%, Dave. He kind of went down a little bit last year. They didn't use him.
Second half, yeah. I would agree with that.
It was really strange to me. And Justice Hill is another one of those non-complain guys that should be out of the league, but since he's just such a team player, he's still there. And I respect that a lot too. I put him at 30%. And
you got to remember too, when Lamar was out though too. So when Lamar was out, that's when Derrick Henry struggled. When Lamar was there, they're going to be better with Lamar too.
That's always true. Always true. Bengals. It's funny. Everyone's so high on Chase Brown. I'm not low on him. He was my sleeper last year.
He was last year, actually. I thought
he was my sleeper before the season started, but
I
didn't think that he lived up to it. And a lot of people love him this year because Burrow was hurt. So it was just like the other correlation. We can say that, right? But Chase Brown, 60%, Samaje Perine, who actually ran a lot last year, is 30% this year. And I got Raj Brooks and Gary Brightwell at the other 10%, but I'm not sold on Brown. I think he's going in most drafts before I feel comfortable taking him, Dane. So I'm lower than the market, I say, for them.
I would agree. Chase Brown definitely screwed me in a couple leagues last year. I think he was probably my bust last year in a few leagues. They are talking him up in camp though, and the Burrow effect too. Like I said, with Lamar Jackson, with Burrow back and healthy, he's going to have a better year. They're trying to get Brown in different formations, they said this year too, and move him all around in the offense, kind of like they do with Chase. So I think he could have an improved year this year. I still am a little skeptical drafting before I do some other backs, like you were saying as well, Kiev. So I'm pretty much right on same as you, 60-30, 60 for Brown, 30 for Samaje Perine, and then probably the last 10% for Taj Brooks. I know they liked him last year, and Gary Brightwell. Maybe he gets a few carries in there as well. But yeah, definitely this is a hard guy to draft. Kind of a little hesitant after last year. Plus, you never know with Burrow getting injured again too. Burrow has some injury history now too, and when Burrow's on, though, he's going to be throwing the ball. They're not going to be really running the ball much either, though, too. So it could be worse for Brown because they're going to be throwing the ball more with Burrow.
Well, let's go to a team with quarterback problems in the Cleveland Browns, Dave. What do you have for the running back share on this strange team?
Yeah. Who knows who the quarterback's going to be? 1 week in training camp, I hear it's Sanders, and the next week I hear it's
Deshaun Watson,
actually. Yeah. So it's like, you don't know who the quarterback's going to be there. I hope Sanders does win the job. I think Watson's washed. I don't think he should be in the NFL anymore or be a starting quarterback. At least he'd be a good backup, but they just pay him so much. They're trying to start him just because of that, I think. This is a weird backfield, like you said. Junkins, I probably have about 55%, 40% for Dylan Sampson. And then Raheem Sanders, they signed him, so he'll get the remaining percentage there. But definitely Junkins is definitely the lead back there.
You know, it's funny. If you're Shador, you probably don't want to start. You want the other guy to start so he can come in after he makes the big mess. You don't want to start.
You don't have nothing to live up to then. You don't have to worry about it.
It'll kill your career if you do that. Start for the shit team right away. Yeah, I got Junkins at 60%, Sampson's at 30%, and Raheem Sanders and Amani Marshall at 10%. Pretty straightforward, but I don't like any of the backs that much.
No.
Jaguars.
They're interesting.
Yeah, they're interesting because they got rid of Etienne, right? And now you got Tootin there. And I got Tootin as a bust. I have Tootin at 40% share right now, and Chris Rodriguez at 40%. And I think Chris Rodriguez is going to take the number one position. Chris Rodriguez was well over 4.1. I think it might have been up to 4.5 rushing yards per attempt. Tootin was at 3.7 yards per carry. You know, I don't think Tootin was that good. I know that you got Amir Abdul there sitting there, Lequin Allen Jr. But no, I think this is my next sleeper is Chris Rodriguez for the Jaguars.
Actually, yeah, you took that from me. I like Chris Rodriguez as well. He's one of my sleepers as well. I definitely agree with you on this one. But just so you know, all the fantasy pundits all say that Tootin is like the sleeper back this year, and he's like the breakout player of the year for the Jaguars. But I'm not sold on it. I think Rodriguez could take over that backfield. I still have Tootin a little bit higher. I got him at 50%, 40% for Chris Rodriguez Jr. But I think by mid-year, I could see Rodriguez as the lead back there. And the coach actually used to coach Chris Rodriguez in college too. And so he knows the head coach, and the head coach knows him as well.
Liam Cohen?
Yep, Liam Cohen used to coach him actually. So yeah, that's another thing there too. So that people don't know that as well. In college, Liam Cohen had Chris Rodriguez as his running back. So they got a little relationship there too. So
this is why you listen to this show, baby. Dave spitting out importance right here. Huge.
It is. That's why everyone likes him too. People were trying to trade for him in one of my dynasty leagues. I'm like, no, I'm keeping Chris Rodriguez Jr.
The people that are really sharp know that, but like the market, the people you listen to on these like very generic fantasy shows think Tootin's going to be all that great. I don't think so. And
they're all saying he's going to be a breakout player this year.
And you made huge reasons to not like Tootin and to like Rodriguez. I love it, Dave. We are on the same
thank you. Yeah, definitely agree with you on that one.
Houston Texans got themselves a new back. Why don't you tell us about that?
Oh, I love this. I love this for Montgomery. Montgomery, I think, is going to be huge there. And I liked Marks last year. Even as a rookie, Marks did well. Like he was thrown into the fray, like with all the injuries there, and he did well, I think. But David Montgomery, I think, is definitely going to be the guy there. Now that he's got as the lead back now, he doesn't have to go behind Gibbs. I think he could be a monster there. And they needed a lead running back there too. So I'm going like 65% for him. I'm going pretty high on Montgomery, actually. I like him there. 30% for Marks, though. I don't count him out. I like Marks as well. And then the remaining probably goes to Joel Jordan. So, but yeah, definitely like Marks. Second year as a rookie, it's tough, but the second year I think he's even better. But I definitely like David Montgomery there a lot. He's like one of the guys I like as a breakout guy with the Texans.
David Montgomery takes over locker rooms. He's a leader. The Texans,
sure.
The Texans revamped their offensive line and finally got some guys there, fixed it. Montgomery is going to be a fantastic player. He's going to be on my draft board higher than the market. Yes. So I agree with you on that one. Indianapolis Colts. You have to say much there. It's Jonathan Taylor, 75 to 80%. But who's his belt? Who's his handcuff is the question. Is it going to be DJ Giddens at 15% is what I have, or Smith McGowan? Who's it going to be?
Yeah, this one's tough. After Taylor, it's tough. I got Taylor at 80%, so yeah, he's definitely the lead guy there. Seth McGowan or DJ Giddens, they're gonna have the remaining 20%. It's a toss up between those two. So Giddens probably has the lead on that right now, but he's banged up right now. Giddens was the rookie last year. They liked him. He actually played a lot. He's got a hamstring injury right now, is what it's saying. And then Seth McGowan, I don't know much about him, but I'd say Giddens is probably the leader right now for that handcuff, just because he played there last year and they liked him last year.
Yeah, DJ Giddens was pretty good. So I agree with that. Let's move on to the final game. Final team, the Tennessee Titans. Who do you have for the Titans?
Well, Tony Pollard actually has been a solid back for me. Every time I draft him, everyone always writes him off, but then he always has a solid year, and he always is solid fantasy guy too as well. He's always good for like a touchdown, 75, 80 yards, and he's got a couple receptions, a good receiving back. So it's tough to always write him off. They do really like Nicholas Singleton, one of their draft picks there. He has been moving up a lot of draft boards now in deeper fantasy leagues. But I got Tony Pollard 60%. I got Taj Spears at 30%, and the remaining 10% between Michael Carter and Nicholas Singleton. But I do like Tony Pollard. He's just a solid back.
All right. Well, here's another big one for me. I think I'll put Pollard at top at 50%, but you better be careful because I got Nicholas Singleton at 40%. I think oh yeah, baby. He's another sleeper. I'm going that he takes out Tyler Spears. You know, Singleton was about 2 or 3 years ago looked at as the number one draft pick for running backs coming in. He ran a forward like 3.5 40. He's a Penn State guy, and Penn State did suck the last couple of years, but it wasn't his fault. Both him and Katron Allen were great, but what's funny is that he was ahead of Katron for a while, then Katron kind of stepped in. Singleton got injured a little bit too, but Singleton was supposed to be a beast. He was kind of like the Jeremiah Love before known. So just to give you a little info on that, I think that Nicholas Singleton has a really good chance to sneak in. So he is my sleeper here for the Tennessee Titans. Dave, man, we've never went 50 minutes before. Holy cow! But great stuff, man. I love breaking this down with you. And tell everybody where we're going to be at the end of August.
We're going to be at Circa, boys. So yeah, we're going to be at Circa for fantasy for the podcast there. So Kiev can tell you a little bit more about it though, but yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, Dave was there last year. We had a blast Wednesday through Sunday contest weekend. So Dave will be there. We'll be talking more fantasy. And next Monday, Dave will be back and we'll talk more fantasy. Thank you everyone for listening to this episode. Just to recap real quick, as you know, for preseason football, I'm taking the Texans at -135. I'm taking the Giants at +3. Enjoy the rest of your week and go get some winners.